you're having tuning issues with your guitar and you're hearing weird sounds, the first thing to check is the width of all of your nut slots. Each nut slot should closely match the gauge of the string you're using. Here I'm using 10s, probably the most common gauge string for electrics. 10, 13, 17, 26, 36, and 46 thousandths. I made the nut on this guitar, and I can tell you that the nut slots are just slightly bigger than the strings themselves, which is a good thing. But if it's too wide, the string has too much wiggle room to shift side to side, so you might hear a rattle or even end up with uneven string spacing. If the slot is too narrow, the string can't slide through smoothly when you tune, and it gets hung up inside the slot. Maybe you've experienced this. You keep turning the tuner until the tension finally builds up enough to suddenly break free, and then you often hear a little ping sound. And on top of that, having a narrow nut slot prevents the string from fully seating at the bottom of the slot. When the string isn't making solid contact, it just floats in the slot. That will kill your tone. Open notes sound dead or muted. The most important tool you need to make sure you have the right slot width are some basic nut files. It's best to have a separate file for each string gauge. Now, you may not be able to find an exact match for each gauge of string, and that's okay. Anything up to 4 thousandths over is no problem at all, but try to avoid going under. Check out the slots on this Gretsch. My wound strings don't look too bad, but my unwound strings are pinching in the slots. Check this out. I can barely even get this E string out of the slot. So I'm going to drop this file down in the slot and just move it through, pulling both directions until it slides easily. That didn't take much. I'm not removing any material. I'm not even creating any dust on top of the guitar. So let's drop that string back in, and that fits much nicer now. This step alone can fix a string that isn't seated properly. Just take your nut files one by one and gently slide them through the slots to make sure there isn't any gunk or debris holding things up. We're not trying to lower at this stage. We're just making sure everything's clean and at the right width. Now look at an example of slots that are way too wide. Check out the B string here. It's not worth trying to fix this. It's just a better option to replace the entire nut. Now, making a nut from scratch can be a daunting task. Another good option are pre-made nuts. The Tusk nuts by Graphtec are a great option. Now, bone is my favorite material. It's the hardest material out there and the longest lasting. But whatever replacement you choose, you still want to run your nut files through the slots to make sure they're the right width.